Homelander losing it more and more. Hughie's mom finally showing up. Butcher getting sicker every day. The fourth season of The Boys has premiered, and we already have a lot of details to discuss in our episode analysis, so stay until the end of the video to catch all the references. Welcome to Comic Chronicles. The fourth season of The Boys is now available on Prime Video, and it has arrived with several twists and turns, starting with Robert Singer running for president of the USA and Victoria Newman as vice president. Right off the bat, we see the Supes trying to get involved in high political positions, and because of that, Bob Singer called the boys to take Newman out of the game, as he fears that if she wins the presidency, Victoria will explode his head to take his place. So, the boys infiltrate the building where the campaign is taking place to try and defeat Newman by switching her eye drops with acid. The dynamic within the boys is no longer the same. They don't trust Butcher. Meanwhile, Homelander is aging and getting gray hair. He pretends to support Newman in her presidential campaign, but she says she doesn't want the support of someone like him, as he is being tried for murder. Elsewhere in the building, Billy Butcher finds Ryan, which messes up the boys' plans as he is caught trying to convince Homelander's son to flee from his father. Homelander finds the two and discovers that Billy is sick. Meanwhile, Frenchie and Kimiko almost get caught in their plan to switch the eye drops by Zoe, Newman's daughter, who is now also a Supe. She attacks them, but they barely manage to escape by jumping out of the building window. At this moment, it becomes evident that Kimiko's healing factor is one of the most absurdly fast, definitely faster than some Marvel characters like Deadpool, for example. Another detail is that the boys have now discovered that Newman is basically invulnerable. Hughie tried acid, and Butcher shot her, but neither had any effect. Seeing that the plan to defeat Victoria failed, the CIA pressures the team to find a way to take her down as soon as possible. Moving on to Homelander, it's evident that he's becoming more unhinged. He gets frustrated realizing that he has everything he ever wanted and is still not happy, surrounded by sycophants who, out of fear of what he can do with his power, agree with everything he says and do his bidding. In a meeting with the Vought team to select new Supes, Homelander learns about Sister Sage, the smartest person in the world. He meets her to form an alliance for his plans, knowing she'll be the only Supe to tell him what she really thinks and not just what he wants to hear, to placate or avoid angering him. Meanwhile, Billy Butcher meets Victoria Newman to try to strike a deal with her to get Ryan away from his father Homelander. Speaking of Butcher, there's a scene where we see his illness getting worse, and he's having hallucinations. Back at the boys' base, Hughie receives a message that his father had a stroke, so he runs to the hospital to find him and discovers that if his father survives, he may have lasting effects. Before we continue, if you enjoy The Boys and want to stay updated on everything about the series, this is the place for you. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. We will bring detailed analyses with curiosities and Easter eggs from all the episodes. Mother's Milk gets a call from his ex-wife Monica and goes to meet her. She says her recent partner, Todd, has been missing for a few days, and their daughter is upset and worried about him as they've become very close. She asks him to try and find Todd since he's really good at it. He hesitates but finally agrees to help. During his search, Mother's Milk sees Todd and two other men meeting with Sister Sage and Homelander but doesn't yet know they were there to meet Homelander in person as they were his biggest fans. However, Sister Sage and Homelander had other plans. He ordered Black Noir, The Deep, and Reggie Franklin, A-Train, to beat the three fans with baseball bats. The Supes hesitate but eventually comply, except for A-Train, who stands still while the other two carry out the orders. This makes it clear that A-Train is rethinking everything, and he's changing. Next, during Homelander's trial, we see two crowds divided between his supporters and Starlight's supporters wanting his imprisonment. But as expected and clearly indicated throughout the episode, he's found innocent by the end of the trial. Outside the courthouse, Sister Sage is in the midst of the crowd to put her plans into action. Dressed as a Starlight supporter, she soon provokes a civil war between the two sides. Annie January arrives flying to see the fights happening and tries to intervene, but in the chaos, she's accused by the crowd of having killed three opposing supporters. Soon, we see the three bodies on the ground, and they are actually the same ones who met Homelander earlier, with Reggie Franklin bringing them in front of the courthouse to incriminate Starlight. Talking a bit about Starlight in this episode, it's interesting to see that she can now fly, but in my opinion, she seems lost, indecisive between being Annie and being Starlight. She got involved in the protest during Homelander's trial, but one thing is clear, she will feel the weight of responsibility for the people who lost their lives in the chaos. Despite all this, there's the lingering question of who is currently in charge at Vought because, in reality, the true villain in The Boys is Vought. Those who have read the comics know it remained active until the end. Even if they lose Homelander and the Supes, they will persist. They represent the powerful system figures who want to profit off the manipulated masses. They are the untouchables. Other interesting details in the episode include Ryan reconsidering how he wants to be as a person. It shows he has a lot of humanity within him, with the morals instilled by Becca, and he worries about Butcher's health. Additionally, the season shows early on that the Seven now has a new Black Noir, even referred to as Black Noir 2, who can talk. But I'll dive more into him in future episode analyses. There's also Joe Kessler, the mysterious CIA guy who starts helping Butcher with Ryan's situation. No doubt there will be some plot involving him, especially with Jeffrey Dean Morgan portraying him. About Frenchie and Colin, I'll discuss more in future analyses, but I wasn't surprised by Frenchie's sexuality. Returning to Hughie, he visits his father in the hospital once again, where, to his and our surprise, his mom shows up. The episode ends with Butcher reconsidering the deal with Newman, as it would mean betraying Hughie. This episode was awesome. I liked how the season opened. While it wasn't grandiose in terms of action scene violence, which is strong in The Boys, I would say this season started by delving more into the psychological aspects of the protagonists from various development arcs, making it interesting to watch. But now I want to know your opinion. Did you like the start of the 4th season? Are you enjoying it, or do you think the series has declined compared to previous seasons? Write in the comments, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Whenever a new video about The Boys drops on the channel, you'll be notified. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next video.